I start just about every episode with a big smile on my face and, generally in a good mood. Partly because that's just generally my outlook on life, but also because, I see you guys all as my friends and I want to project those positive vibes towards you. But, that being said, I also feel like I owe it to you guys to let you in on everything that's happening in my life that has to do with the channel, be it a positive thing or a negative thing. And, in the last couple episodes, you may have heard me talk about how since I've got the M50 Manifold installed, I don't have a tune for it. And I had emailed rktunes to get the revision done so that I can have a tune specifically for the M50 Manifold. So, about 10 days ago, I emailed RK, Jordan over at rktunes for the revision. And, we've been back and forth with it. And I just got it back, guys. It's in the laptop, in the car, and we're ready to put this thing on. So let's load the tune onto the car, go for a rip, dump the clutch, and bang off the rev limiter. In all honesty, guys, I'm in a great mood today, and I hope that you guys are too. Thanks again for joining me for another vlog today. So whenever I'm about to flash the car, it makes me a little nervous because there's some chances that you can brick your ECU. I mean, it's not a high chance, but it's still there. So basically, if the voltage drops too low in the car, or if the program itself freezes that you're using to flash the vehicle, or if, say, your laptop dies or something like that, your ECU can brick. So there's some things that I do to hopefully prevent that from happening. So because when it comes time to actually flash the car, it'll just be in the on position, but the engine won't be running, and you don't want the voltage to drop too low like I mentioned. So I got my wife's car here with the battery hooked up to mine. And once it comes time to actually do the flashing, I'll have her car running, helping to keep my battery charged while we're doing the flashing here so that there's no chance of this thing dropping too low or going dead. Battery in the car is basically the biggest thing, but the second is, ideally you'd have your laptop plugged in, but I don't have power here where I keep the car, so I just have to make sure that my laptop is fully charged, and that should be plenty enough battery to get us through the flashing. And last but certainly not least, you want to make sure that whatever program that you're using to do the flash is working properly and connected to the car properly. So what I do is read the ECU data a bunch of times, like 6 or 7 times, to make sure that it's communicating with the ECU right, and then we'll go ahead and get with the flash. So that's about everything that I do to make sure that it's all going to go okay, and let's get to it. We just got to get this thing plugged into the computer and then plugged into the OBD2 port. There's what the cable looks like. Got that all plugged in now. Got her car running to make sure that the battery stays charged. Here we go. So if you guys can't tell, I'm wearing some new clothes. That's because it's a new day, and that's for 2 reasons. One, it gets dark here so fast that after work I really don't have that much time to film, and I want you guys to be able to see what's going on. And the second reason is, which is a more important reason, is whenever you load a new tune on the car, it's not necessarily good to go right away. You have to give the DME a while to adapt and to learn the new tune and really to settle down so that it's at its best. And the biggest reason is, if I just threw the tune on the car, jumped in it, and then told you guys what I thought, I don't really think that'd be fair, because at that point I really haven't put that many miles on the car and had much experience with the tune. But now I put about 50 miles on the car, and I think I have a pretty good idea about what I think. I'm obviously not a pro at drifting, but I'm definitely practicing. So in a perfect world, every single mod that you would do to your car, you'd notice a massive difference that would make it inarguably worth all the money that you spent on it and all the time that you spent doing it. That's not necessarily the case with what I have going on here. First of all, if you guys don't know, I'm using rktunes for my tuning. I used to have Dynan, I switched to rktunes just before I got the M50 Manifold swap. So I had a tune just for the intake and the high flow HFM and all the other stuff that I have before the Manifold. And I drove around on that tune for probably about 100 or 200 miles. And then I did the M50 Manifold swap. Now the reason why I didn't get a tune for the M50 Manifold swap right away is I wanted to be able to tell the difference of driving with just the M50 Manifold and no tune specific for it, and then getting a tune specific for it and seeing what changes that made. Now when I did the M50 manifold swap, the big things that I noticed were the car just seemed a lot happier, especially in the higher RPMs. It was a lot happier to rev up high, and I did notice that it gained quite a bit of power up top. I also noticed that I did lose a little bit of low end torque, say anything below 4,000 RPMs. And so the reason why I wanted to get an updated tune for the M50 manifold was I wanted to see if I could regain some of that torque that I had lost, and I also wanted to see if I thought that maybe it gave me a little bit more power on top. And so what do I think of this new tune? Here's what I think. If the whole M50 manifold swap plus a tune were to give you, say, 20 horsepower, I'm not saying that's accurate, I'm just using it for comparison, I would say that maybe 12 or 13 of that horsepower comes from just doing the swap, and maybe about 7 or 8 horsepower comes on top of that with the tune. So the majority of what you're gonna get is gonna come just from doing the swap and no tune. What I notice is, well, let's do a little pull here at low RPMs and see what I think about the torque. So second gear, about 3,000 RPMs. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I do notice that I did regain some of that torque. So with the tune, I noticed a little bump in torque down low and maybe a little bit more power up top, but it wasn't like a massive difference. If you already have a tune for your car before you did the M50 manifold to take advantage of the bumping, getting a more custom tune for your car, I don't know that I would pay to have another tune, an updated tune, just for the M50 manifold swap. Now, one of the reasons why I went with rktunes and one reason why I recommend them is if you buy a tune from them and then you do some more mods and you need an update, the updates for the tune are free. So I didn't have to pay anything, so obviously it was worth it for me. So basically, if you haven't had to tune it ever on your car and you do the M50 manifold swap, I would recommend a tune. But if you already had a tune before and then you do the M50 manifold swap, if you gotta pay for it, I probably wouldn't recommend it because the difference isn't totally massive. Now, to kind of wrap everything up with the whole M50 manifold swap, I'm really glad that I did it. I don't feel like I ended up losing any torque at all after I did the tune, and I definitely feel like it has more power, especially up top, and the car just overall drives a lot better. Not only does the car just drive better, have better drivability, but it also pulls a lot stronger, and I feel like it's just happier overall. The M50 manifold is what I feel like should have come with the car in the first place. And that kind of makes sense because with the first version of this motor, the M50 I guess I would say, it did come with this manifold. And then with the M52 that was changed. So the engine seemed like originally designed to have an M50 manifold on it. I had to do it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't be a noob, hit the notification bell so that you guys don't miss an episode. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up on the channel that I'm really excited to show you guys, so make sure to stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next one. 596, 583.